Greenlight Battalion Series 1. Let's take a look at all these awesome vehicles. Brand new set of collectibles from Greenlight, including 2 Sherman Tanks. Just flattened some Hot Wheels here, as well as some Chevy military pickup trucks. A couple of Jeeps as well, and so much more to look at in today's review video. One of the most anticipated series from Greenlight in spring 2022. Collect all 6. You're going to see them here live in action in the Diecast Museum. Welcome back, 1/64 scale Diecast collectors. Today I've got a super exciting review of Greenlight's brand new Battalion Series 1. This is a battle vehicle themed series. It's going to include 2 tanks, 2 pickup trucks, and I believe 2 Jeeps. I've got 2 complete fresh sealed cases to open up with you guys live on the camera. I've also brought out a few other military vehicles that I have in my collection, 1/64 scale, that aren't Greenlight. More just for decoration. It's not really a comparison. These are completely different types of models, but we will look at them side by side with what is coming out of Greenlight's product. And I'm sure this is going to be a whole lot of fun. So stick around. Let's see if we can find some green machines. And better yet, let's get all of these vehicles out of the packaging for a full loose review and a roll on the diorama. All right, here we are, about to open up Greenlight Battalion Series 1. This is super cool. Been wanting to do this for a while. These came from a trusted source, these cases. And so I know they're sealed. There's a chance of a green machine. If you're looking for stuff like this, you too can buy these from Aurelia Diecast here in Canada. Check them out on Facebook. Also, I should note that I buy all these with my own money. I'm not sponsored. So, with that being said, we're going to get into this review. It's going to be a full, honest review, and we're going to see what comes out. Then we're going to look at these awesome machines, which I believe are from a company years out of date. Maybe, I don't know if they're still making stuff, called UNIMAX. Copyright 2005, that's about when I bought them. Solid die-cast metal pieces. There's an ancient Corgi tank. We'll get into that later. But yeah, some really cool vehicles. As you can see, I already know I like a lot of these. The square body pickup trucks are amongst my favorite. And we have 2 different blends of paint camo to look at. Here we go. Battalion Series 1. I should mention these probably came out about a month ago now. I'm a little late to the opening, but that's okay. They are still widely available. A very in-demand series that is going to exceed far more than 10,000 pieces of each. So you shouldn't have any trouble finding these at the time of filming. And super cool that we have Hot Pursuit, then we had Fire and Rescue, now we have Battalion series. Greenlight really is on a roll with their wide variety of diecast to choose from. And first one coming out is that super aggressive looking 1952 M4 Sherman Tank. U.S. Army Korean War is where this one came from. And these do have rotating turrets, non-tilting guns, I've learned. Movable tracks on many idler wheels. So I'll give you a demonstration when I open up one of these. But there's the artwork if it's the first time you've seen it. Got Battalion Series 1 Limited Edition. How many of these things are made? Well, this one's number 3107. We've got a 5-digit white code on the back. There's all 6 vehicles in this collection, so I was indeed right. We've got a 43 Willys MB Jeep coming out and a 1970 DJ5, in addition to those Chevrolet M1008 pickup trucks and the 2 Sherman Tanks. Now, these are going to be all true 1/64 scale, as all Greenlight is. And here we have the first in Bastagona. Oh my, I haven't done my research, guys. Apologies, and help me out in the comments if you have some more information to provide. And here, of course, yet again, another 87 Chevrolet M1008 CUCV. Also, not sure what that means. It's an abbreviation for something. Can't wait to see all the comments on this one. Just flying by the seat of my pants, as they say here. 1943 Willy's MB Jeep in the U.S. Army, yellow, black, and checker. I believe this is an airport guidance Jeep. So you'd find these on like military runways to help aircraft come in and land. They would follow the yellow and black Jeeps to know where they were going. And then we have a camo version of the Jeep, the 1970 DJ5. This one is the same casting that Greenlight has used for the mail, U.S. mail Jeep for postal delivery services. But super cool to see it here in this olive drab. So no green machines in this box, but we've got a second one to open up. And this is probably going to be my absolute favorite in the bunch, this 84 Chevrolet with the green, black, and tan Tampa work. Now, I like the tan one as well, but something about green on a military vehicle, it just suits me better. So one case out of the way. Now we are going for number 2. What do you think? What are the chances we're going to have a green machine on case number 2? We're obviously not going to look at the vehicles in as much detail here, if at all. We're just basically searching for treasure hunts. Now, why did I buy 2 cases? Well, it's a super cool mix of vehicles. I think you can agree. And I really just love opening up Greenlight cases of cars I know I'm going to want to collect. Doesn't hurt to have a second set, really. Well, I've now got 4 of that one and 4 of this one. So I've got a little bit of a military collection starting. And there's a Sherman Tank. What? All right, so no green machine. No big deal. Let's go in for a closer look. One last peek at these vehicles in their very nice collectible packaging. Jeeps on the outside. Chevy trucks side by side. Sherman Tanks also side by side. Different year models, but I'm not sure if we'll see a difference in the casting. We will be looking for that. Same for the pickup trucks, and quite a difference in those 2 Jeep models. They are entirely different castings. And a close-up look at these ultra-detailed die-cast tanks that I collected probably going on about 17 years ago. And they have a lot of functionality, which we'll look at towards the end of this video. But they really fit with this Greenlight Battalion themed series. And it's going to make a nice layout. The oldest one in the bunch, of course, is this ancient Corgi tank with its still functional tracks, turret, and just an absolute behemoth of metal. The M60A1 medium tank by Corgi Toys, copyright 1976, made in Hong Kong. Check out those tracks. So let's do a comparison against vintage toys to older toys and brand new modern models, I should say. They're not really toys, they're models. Okay, let's get cracking. I think we're going to start with the tanks. And from there, look at the pickup trucks. Just so many models here on the table. It's an army already, and we're only at Series 1. First one coming out of the package is the 1941 M4 Sherman Tank, U.S. Army World War II model. Of course, World War II running from 1939 to 1945. And these tanks were quite common in this battle, this world battle. But we're here to look at models of die-cast, and if you're a history buff or wanting to know more about world wars and military machines, well, I'm not your source, unfortunately. I don't know a lot about these particular vehicles, and I could only give you kind of a general overview on what I do know about wars of the past. Certainly there are better sources out there, but check out this vehicle. Rotating turrets, actual moving treads, and a lot of details. Got the machine gun on the front, some interesting decorations on it, as well as really detailed, looks like weights, perhaps, loading weights for this vehicle. Typical Greenlight doing what they do so well. And I've just been playing around with this thing a little bit off camera, trying to understand if or how these tracks are going to work. It's quite a detailed, complicated assembly that Greenlight has made here. A lot of plastic idler wheels and little cogs, and then these really ultra flexible rubber tracks with guide nubs, or whatever you want to call them. And ideally it looks like it would all work, but it doesn't roll all that well, and the tracks do have some memory to them from how they were packaged and left around the wheels. So although they turn, they are quite susceptible to coming off of the bogie wheels and the drive wheels. That's just a minor observation, though, as I understand these are not toys, and in fact are probably more of a model. They definitely don't roll on a smooth surface such as a table, and I don't think I'll be attempting to roll it on my diorama because it's just going to tear all of the flock right off of the surface. But if you really pushed on it, I imagine it would roll, maybe on certain surfaces. We might have to do a trial on the carpet. But I think for what I'm going to do in the purpose of these as stack display models, it's just going to get the track to the point where the lumpiest parts, typically which were packaged around the corner or end wheels, I'm going to get those on the bottom edge of the track so that when I park this thing on a shelf, hopefully it will just kind of level out. It looks fantastic next to these other these tanks by UNIMAX. And they are also super detailed, but again, their treads, I haven't even turned these things probably in almost 20 years. So I might not even bother trying. A lot of little delicate plastic idler wheels on this one as well. And I know I said I wasn't going to do a comparison, but it's pretty tempting to pick one up and do that. Both of these are very heavy, although the UNIMAX is a heavier diecast. Not necessarily more robust, however. As you can see, they've got little delicate antennae on them. And I have seen parts fall off of these tanks previously just sitting in my drawer. In fact, I've got one under repair with some glue at the moment. But look at how well this tank fits in. I mean, these other ones here cost me probably $15 each. That was 15, 20 years ago. So nowadays dollars, I would say these would be worth even more, given the level of detail on them, if they were still available. I'm not sure if the company is still making these at all. I haven't actually looked that up for this video because it was mainly to be a Greenlight video, but of course it's turning into you know, just a military themed vehicle. This is the Abrams tank, and also a whole bunch of, yeah, just really stiff treads. We've still got one more to look at. That's going to be the 52 model of the M4 Sherman tank, and this one has some war paint on the front. Getting this out of the package for you now, carefully, and I'll show you what I see. So this one here was probably a winning battalion. Rice's Red Devils. They must have been doing pretty well for their commanders to allow them to paint a giant red target on the front of their tank. Now the top turret is plastic, and that part moves pretty well. The design is very clever, I have to say, and probably more robust than the UNIMAX tanks that I have to show you here. But as far as play goes, I don't think they would last too long in a sandbox. And again, there's very little ability to roll, even with major pressure applied to it. Perhaps some adjustment might help, but I do really like these tanks. I think they look pretty cool. Don't you agree? Is there a difference between the two? Yes, there is. The turret is different. We've got a much longer gun on the later model. And other than that, I think that's probably the only casting difference that we're going to see. They both have a machine gun out the front. Yeah, so probably the same tank, essentially. But extremely cool. Fits in with my tank collection, which is obviously growing by the minute. And let's just back the camera off a smidge here. While we're looking at tanks, and before we get into the rest of them, I'll just give some highlights on the rest of these, since there's not very many. We've got the wire cable layer, I think this one is. Doesn't actually say. But pretty clever. Super fragile vehicles. So you can see those plastic little chain drive attachments. This one doesn't turn so well. And the details on the drivers or the gunners is just incredible. Check out that. And it's got a really good patina on these UNIMAX tanks. A lot of details. See the treads just a little bit off the bogey wheels there. And I think we've got two more to look at. There's this one here with a lot of plating on it. Actual rubber tires on it. Looks like they've got a little oily sitting in the drawer. Maybe that'll help it move. It definitely has some memory shape to it. So we're just going to leave it at that. And again, nothing on here than a made in China copyright. So I don't even know what kind of tanks these are if they're not listed, because I'm not all that knowledgeable on tanks. But if any of you that are watching are, please feel free to share in the comments. I'm sure many would appreciate that, including myself. This one has some amazing details, as you can see. Rivets all over it, holding all those armor plates on it. And what's this guy saying? Yeah, he looks like he's putting in some commands of some sort. So these are quite heavy. Like I said, they're all die-cast, the UNIMAX. I think we've already looked at the Abrams. This is the Abrams with the supplies, or is that just a curtain around it to slow the dust down? I don't really know. Doesn't say anything on the base. One of the bigger tanks. There was a lot of military vehicles for sale when I bought these, but they were quite expensive for me at the time. I wasn't used to paying that much money for these sorts of vehicles, so I only grabbed what I liked. And I have no idea what they'd be worth nowadays. I don't have any of the original packaging, so that's basically my story on the tanks. And we've still got some awesome trucks to look at, so let's get these Chevy pickup trucks out for the review. And this one appears to be a crew carrier of some sort, so you can imagine, yeah, there's like 8 bench seats kind of in the back, suggested, behind those guardrails. And you carry some troops in this thing, or a lot of supplies. Greenlight's done a pretty good job on the detailing here. We've got weather stripping, door handles, blacked out wheels, blacked out metal base. And how does it roll? Very good. Very clear windows on that. Okay, let's look at the 84 model next. And this one has a covered canopy on the back, as well as a green bush guard on the front. And some super clear windows. Very nice to see that. And really good details on this plastic canopy. The tow hooks on the bumper are suggested. The tire is just a little off the rim there. There we go. Nice matte finish and very heavy vehicles. So some good rolling vehicles, and looks like the scale is actually really good. It's amazing that they're able to produce these massive die-cast vehicles in today's economy and still sell them at regular prices. Okay, we've got two more to look at. Those are the Jeeps. Let's look at this 1970 model next. Let's see what that's all about. It's got a glossy finish to it. U.S. Army. A little bit of oil on the windows, but that'll wash off or wipe off pretty easily. And a little bit of glue haze, but that's already gone. Tires a little off the rim. No big deal. There we go. Let's take a closer look at this. Transparent headlights, windshield wipers, and some very authentic livery on it. For official use only, it says. Reverse light, and look at that Jeep tampo or stamping in the metal. Very cool vehicle. Probably the coolest little Jeep MB5 that I have in my collection. And one more vehicle to look at before we set these up on my diorama, see what they look like. And that is this 1943 Willy's model. All sorts of details on it, including the shovels, an axe, a whaler on the fender, and a super snazzy paint job, really. It's even got the little hitch and tow hitch, jerry cans, and spare tire, full spare tire. Removable roof for those sunny days when you want to get a little bit of a face tan. So that's pretty cool. Let's do a little roll test of these Jeeps. Jeeps are rolling beautifully. So cool. And yeah, this is an impressive collection. Quite happy with this lineup from Greenlight. And I've got a couple more to open up. And just might as well crack them out with you guys. Get everything ready for the diorama display. One last look at these trucks. Checking for quality, of course. Seems to be high quality. I'm not sure if this is removable or not. You can probably pop it off. I'm sure it's glued on. And there again, one last look at the open back version of this truck. So I've got my military set up here now. As you can see, a lot of cool vehicles from Greenlight. And of course, if you're after any of these awesome models, get out there, get out hunting, and happy hunting. Enjoy the hobby. Have fun with your models, however you display, collect, or play with them. It truly is a lot of fun, and Greenlight is pushing the envelope, as we see, with variety of things to collect. So without further ado, we'll see you in the next review.